Well, welcome back, everyone. Again, Dr. James Broomall of Shepherd University, as well as the George Tyler Moore Center for the Study of the Civil War. And again, I'm joined by Christian Webb. We have moved from Front Royal, Virginia into Winchester. We are indeed in the heart of the city. We are just off that Valley Turnpike, that absolutely vital thoroughfare, artery, that allowed the transportation of men and material so efficiently and effectively throughout the campaign in 1862. I did want to step back for a moment, though, and I think more broadly about the impact of these conflicts on some of the civilians and some of the soldiers in this area. And some years back, I was working at the Special Collections at the University of Virginia, and there I read the quite remarkable diary of Marcus Blakemore Buck. Buck had a very large farm just outside of Front Royal, known as Bel Air, and Buck will eventually lose a son to the conflict at the Battle of Upperville in 1863. But in May of 1862, Buck has this to say, quote, "My heart bleeds at the thoughts of the future for my family and friends. For myself, my troubles here must be brief. My heart for more than 12 months has been performing more than 10 times its regular service, and it can't last." And indeed, once we move into the heart of Winchester, we're going to be slowing down the narrative and talking about the experiences of black and white Southerners who are caught up in the vortex of this battle. And I think what's significant for us to be mindful of is how much this war is going to impact these communities. But with that, I want to turn it back over to Christian, who's going to situate us here in Winchester and talk about how the action unfolded. And we're going to spotlight one of the more notable regiments, the 2nd Massachusetts, in the course of that material. And so with that, Christian.
Thank you. So guys, we are located here at what was known as Bowers Hill in the heart of downtown Winchester. This is where the First Battle of Winchester culminated, where Jackson's forces engaged the heart of Banks's forces here in Winchester. The battle actually began over at what is now known as Pleasant Valley Road, where Shenandoah University is located today. That is where Ewell's forces engaged Donnelly's brigade. They were held at a standstill, and from there Jackson grew eagerly impatient and engaged his own forces, most notably the Stonewall Brigade commanded by General Winder. From there, the stalemate continued. The 2nd Massachusetts being dug in over at the hill behind us where Handley High School is located now. And so he had no other choice but to initiate his flanking movement, which was initiated by General Taylor's Louisianans, which would happen to the right of me. Unfortunately, the ground over there is altered, and there's no remnants of, any open field. But that is where the attack was maneuvered, and that is where the Union flank was crushed, and that's where they began running through the streets of downtown Winchester. And that's where they started fleeing and running towards the Potomac River, notably what is now West Virginia and Williamsport, Maryland.
I think it would be useful for our viewers to understand why exactly are the Union forces now sort of ensconced in this area, and what's the overall sort of strategic goal?
So once they fled from Strasburg, they had a big problem. Their big problem was that they had so many stores, they had to protect their trains. One account that I read was saying that Strasburg at one point was a public town, that it was a government town, and that was a huge liability. So Stanton was very concerned about that, and he was also concerned about how swift Jackson's men were moving at this point. And so the safest place was Winchester due to its ground. And so behind us is forget what it's called.
Handley High School?
Bowers Hill.
Oh,
Bowers Hill is a very defensible portion of ground, and so General Banks thought that it would be the best place to center his army and protect his stores before moving to their next spot. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, and with that, I think we're going to head down into downtown Winchester. We have some ominous storm clouds gathering above us, so we will either be in Christian's kitchen performing the last section, or we're going to try and make our way into the town safely and there talk both about the retreat as well as the experiences of some of the civilians and the enslaved in May and June of 1862. So thank you.